She thought the dusty man standing in the bank was just another ranch worker waiting for his wages. She spoke to him with kindness when everyone else ignored him. But moments later, the banker stepped forward, removed his hat, and said, "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell. Your office is ready." The entire room fell silent, but what Mr. Caldwell did next changed not only her life, but the heart of an entire frontier town. Stay until the very end, because this unforgettable story proves that true wealth is hidden beneath humble clothes. And if you love inspiring Western stories about kindness, dignity, and second chances, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss another heartfelt adventure. Emma Harper had worked harder than most people twice her age. Every morning before sunrise, she swept the floors of Dawson's Mercantile, stitched torn saddlebags, repaired leather harnesses, and delivered supplies across the frontier town. Since losing both parents years earlier, she had learned that survival depended on honest work, not luck. Though her hands carried scars from years of labor, she never complained. The townsfolk respected her craftsmanship, but rarely noticed the quiet kindness she showed everyone, from hungry children to tired travelers who could not afford new boots. One chilly autumn morning, the store owner handed Emma a sealed envelope. "Take this payment to the bank before noon," he instructed. She nodded, tucked the envelope into her apron, and walked toward Caldwell Frontier Bank. Inside, polished wooden counters gleamed beneath warm sunlight pouring through tall windows. Wealthy ranchers discussed cattle prices while businessmen counted stacks of money. Emma felt out of place among them but quietly joined the line. Near the entrance stood a rugged stranger. His shirt was stained with dust, his leather vest worn from years of hard work, and his weathered cowboy hat looked as though it had survived countless storms. Holding another battered hat against his chest, he patiently waited without demanding attention. Several customers glanced at him with judgment before turning away. One woman whispered loudly, "Workers should use the back entrance." Another man scoffed, believing the stranger had wandered into the wrong building. The rugged man simply smiled politely and remained silent. Emma watched everything. Unlike the others, she stepped toward him and asked gently, "Sir, have you been waiting long?" The stranger answered with calm eyes, "Only a little while, miss. Everyone else seems to be in a greater hurry." She smiled warmly and offered him the seat she had been using. "Please sit. You've probably been working since sunrise." He thanked her sincerely but remained standing. As they spoke, Emma noticed how respectfully he listened, how carefully he chose every word, and how there was quiet wisdom behind his tired expression. He asked about her work, and she admitted she repaired saddles and leather goods to survive. Instead of pitying her, he admired her determination. Their conversation lasted only minutes, yet Emma felt strangely comfortable around the humble stranger. Suddenly, the bank doors opened. Every employee immediately straightened their jackets. The branch manager hurried from behind the polished counter with a wide smile. Walking directly toward the dusty ranch hand, he respectfully removed his hat and announced for everyone to hear, "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell. We've been expecting you. Your office is prepared." Every conversation inside the bank stopped. Emma stared in disbelief as every wealthy customer, who had ignored the dusty stranger, suddenly lowered their heads with embarrassment. The silence inside Caldwell Frontier Bank lasted only a heartbeat, but to Emma it felt like an eternity. Every person who had ignored the dusty stranger moments earlier suddenly rushed to greet him with forced smiles and polite bows. The banker apologized repeatedly for the short wait, offering him the finest chair and freshly brewed coffee. Emma stood frozen, embarrassed not because she had spoken kindly to him, but because she realized she knew nothing about the quiet man everyone suddenly treated like royalty. Mr. Caldwell noticed her uneasy expression and smiled as if nothing unusual had happened. Before entering his private office, he turned to the banker and said calmly, "Please finish helping Miss Harper first. She was here before me." The wealthy businessman exchanged puzzled looks. No one had ever seen the owner of the largest bank in 3 counties put an ordinary leather worker ahead of himself. Emma quickly completed her delivery, thanked the clerk, and prepared to leave, hoping to avoid further attention. "Miss Harper," Mr. Caldwell called gently. "Would you spare a few minutes?" Unsure why one of the richest men in the territory wanted to speak with her, she nervously agreed. Inside his office, she expected polished speeches about investments or business. Instead, she found simple wooden furniture, dusty maps, and shelves filled with ranch journals rather than expensive decorations. Mr. Caldwell poured 2 cups of coffee himself instead of asking an assistant. "People usually discover my name before they discover my character," he said quietly. "Today you treated me with respect before knowing either." Emma lowered her eyes. "My parents taught me that clothes never reveal the value of a person's heart." The words brought a gentle smile to his weathered face. He explained that every month he visited his ranches and businesses dressed like an ordinary worker. It allowed him to see who respected people for their character and who respected only wealth. Sadly, he admitted, too many failed that simple test. Emma listened silently, never imagining someone so successful would deliberately hide his status. Then Mr. Caldwell asked an unexpected question. "Would you consider working with me?" Emma assumed he needed someone to repair saddles for his ranch hands, but his offer reached far beyond leatherwork. He explained that he planned to establish workshops across the valley where widows, struggling families, and young apprentices could earn honest wages making harnesses, blankets, boots, and farming tools. "I don't need another manager obsessed with profit," he said. "I need someone who understands dignity." Emma hesitated. "I've never managed anything except my own workbench." Caldwell chuckled softly. "Kindness can be taught to many people. Integrity cannot. You already possess what money cannot buy." News of the meeting spread quickly through town. Some merchants whispered that Emma had manipulated the wealthy banker. Others insisted she must secretly be related to him. Instead of defending herself, Emma returned to work exactly as before. She repaired broken harnesses, greeted every customer with the same gentle smile, and ignored the gossip. Days later, Mr. Caldwell visited her small workshop, carrying several damaged saddles. Instead of ordering employees to deliver them, he worked beside her, stitching leather until sunset. Curious children gathered outside, amazed that the richest man in the county spent his afternoon repairing equipment beside a humble craftswoman. That evening, as the golden sun disappeared behind the mountains, many townspeople began realizing that greatness wasn't measured by bank accounts or fine clothing. It was measured by humility, respect, and the willingness to serve others. And together, Emma Harper and Mr. Caldwell were about to change far more than a single business. They were about to transform the spirit of the entire frontier. Months passed, and the small workshop Emma helped build became the busiest place in the valley. Widows who had once depended on charity now earned honest wages. Young apprentices learned valuable trades instead of wandering the streets, and struggling ranch families finally had steady work. Mr. Caldwell never claimed the success as his own. Whenever people praised him, he simply smiled and pointed toward Emma, saying, "She reminded me that the strongest foundation of any business is kindness." The same townspeople who had once whispered about Emma now admired her quiet strength. They realized she had never chased wealth or status. She had only wanted to earn an honest living with dignity. Her example slowly changed the community. Shopkeepers treated poor customers with greater respect, employers became fairer to their workers, and neighbors began helping one another without expecting anything in return. One autumn afternoon, the bank hosted a celebration to honor everyone whose lives had been changed through the new workshops. Instead of sitting at the front, Mr. Caldwell stood among the workers, shaking hands and thanking each one personally. Then he invited Emma onto the stage. "I've been called successful because I own land, cattle, and businesses," he said, "but real success is finding people whose character is richer than gold." Miss Harper never judged a dusty stranger by his clothes. She judged him by his heart. That simple kindness inspired everything we've built together. The room erupted in applause. Emma's eyes filled with tears, not because she was being honored, but because she remembered the frightened woman who had once worried about paying her rent. She had discovered that one respectful conversation could change the direction of an entire life. As the celebration ended, Mr. Caldwell quietly handed Emma the deed to the workshop. "You've earned this," he said. "Not as a gift, but because you've built hope here." Emma smiled warmly. "Then we'll keep building hope together." From that day forward, the workshop became known as the place where everyone received a fair chance, no matter how poor or forgotten they were. And the people of the frontier never forgot the lesson that changed their town forever. True greatness is never announced by wealth. It is revealed through humility, kindness, and the way we treat people before we know who they are. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes kindness can change lives.